Every relationship self-help book, every cheesy movie tells us the same thing. Forgive. Give second chances. Love conquers all. This mindset is a dangerous lie. It makes men weak, and it teaches partners that your dignity is negotiable. Today, we are going to cut through the fluff and talk about the non-negotiable actions, the 10 fundamental sins in a relationship that you should never, under any circumstances, forgive a woman for. To forgive these things is not an act of love. It is an act of self-betrayal. It is signing a contract that says you are okay with losing yourself, piece by piece, until you are nothing more than a shadow of who you once were. This is not a conversation about bitterness. It is a conversation about self-respect, mental health, and drawing a final line in the sand. If you recognize any of these behaviors in your current relationship, this is your wake-up call. We're not talking about a harmless white lie about a birthday present. We are talking about a woman who systematically lies about major and minor things. Where she was, who she was with, her financial situation, or what she is pursuing. She builds a parallel universe and expects you to live inside it. This isn't just about the lie, it's about the erosion of your reality. You begin to doubt your own perception, constantly questioning what is real and what is a manufactured facade. By making lying acceptable, she communicates that your reality, your truth, and your feelings are irrelevant noise to her. Trust is the foundation of the house, and every single lie is a targeted hammer blow to that foundation. It will inevitably collapse. Chronic liars are testing your boundaries. Every time you stay silent, every time you let a small lie slide, you are handing her a green light to tell a more brazen one tomorrow. You are not fighting over a small thing. You are fighting for the SA. This is the woman who, in front of friends, family, or even your children, mocks your appearance, undermines your authority, or tells embarrassing stories about you. All with a fake smile and the defense, "It was just a joke, can't you take a joke?" Contempt is the opposite of love. Every laugh at your expense is not an act of playfulness. It is a calculated move to elevate her status by putting you down. She is asserting dominance and destroying your reputation in your own social circle. This behavior is insidious because the moment you object, she flips the script and frames you as being too sensitive or insecure. A healthy couple can playfully tease each other, but it is always done from a place of support and affection. When you are systematically made the punchline, it's no longer humor. It is pure, corrosive contempt. Once a woman looks at you with contempt in her eyes, the relationship is already dead on arrival. This is the weaponization of emotion to control an outcome. It looks like threatening to leave if you don't comply, using dramatic tears to win an argument, or the classic phrases, "If you loved me, you would have," or "I guess I'm just not good enough for you." This is the most manipulative form of control because it attacks the best parts of your character. Your compassion, your desire to protect, and your fear of causing pain. You become her emotional hostage. Manipulators are emotional terrorists. They demand a ransom, your compliance, for the release of their perceived emotional state. A woman who truly loves you will never make you responsible for her happiness or weaponize your good intentions. Real love seeks understanding and open communication, not the breaking of your will through guilt and fear. A relationship built on emotional extortion is not a partnership. It is a prison constructed of emotional bars. She reads your private messages, checks your location, shows up at your workplace unannounced just to say hi, or interrogates you about every minute you spend apart from her. She will call this caring, passion, or intense love. This is not love. It is a desire for possession. True care respects freedom and fosters trust. This obsession seeks to suffocate and control. Privacy is not about having something to hide. It is about maintaining your sense of self and individuality within the partnership. When she violates your boundaries, she is declaring, Your autonomy does not matter. You are my property. The relationship devolves from a union into a constant state of surveillance. You begin to self-censor, weighing every word and action, terrified of making a wrong move. Trust cannot possibly survive in an atmosphere of constant suspicion. You cease to be partners and become a prisoner and a warden. A push, a slap, throwing objects at you or around you, punching walls or destroying your property. This is never just an emotional breakdown or a moment of losing control. This is a clear demonstration of dominance and a declaration that she is willing to use force to control you. The danger here is that it always escalates. The light push you forgive becomes a hard shove. The slap becomes a closed fist. Every act of violence you tolerate convinces her that the tactic works and that your safety is less important than her rage. Don't let her deceive you. She doesn't throw things at her boss or slap a police officer. This selective control is the ultimate proof that her anger is not uncontrollable. She is in perfect control of whom she chooses to target. She targets you because she perceives you as a safe, forgiving outlet for her aggression. Your forgiveness is tragically mistaken for weakness and permission. She hides her income while freely spending yours. She runs up debt in your name. She treats your money as ours, but her money as strictly hers. She sabotages your career to maintain financial dependence. This is financial parasitism. Money is more than just currency. It represents freedom, security, and future options. Whoever controls the finances controls your future. When you try to set boundaries, she uses guilt. We're a couple, don't you trust me? To silence you. You stop feeling like a partner and start feeling like a walking ATM whose sole function is to cover her expenses. A healthy relationship is built on shared planning, mutual transparency, and reciprocity. A relationship defined by one-sided consumption and hidden accounts is not a partnership. It is a transactional arrangement where you are the resource being exploited. It starts subtly. She dislikes your friends. Your family is too toxic. Your hobbies take up too much time. Slowly, invisibly, she cuts off everyone who could offer you an outside perspective or emotional support. This isn't a search for closeness. It is the calculated elimination of competition for your time, attention, and loyalty. You don't notice your world shrinking until your phone book is empty, and she is your only window to reality. Isolation is the abuser's most powerful tool. Without the feedback of friends or family to tell you, hey, this isn't normal, her version of reality becomes the only one you have. You lose your moral and emotional bearings, and her manipulations become your compass. When you have nowhere else to go, leaving the relationship becomes almost impossible. Cheating is not a mistake or an accident. It is a series of deliberate, conscious choices. The choice to flirt, the choice to hide messages, the choice to meet, and the choice to lie to your face. It is a complete nullification of every promise and a deliberate murder of trust. Excuses like, we were going for a rough patch, or you weren't paying attention to me, are pathetic attempts to shift responsibility. Nothing just happens. If there are problems, you discuss them, or you leave. You do not get to keep a backup relationship while holding on to your primary one. A woman who cheats has shown you exactly who she is. A person who will betray you when it is convenient and lie when it is easier. She has proven that her fleeting desires are more important than your safety, your peace of mind, and the sanctity of your commitment. Someone who cheats once is statistically far more likely to do it again. Forgiveness here is not strength. It is voluntary consent to future pain. This is the lowest of the low. It is when she takes the deepest fears, traumas, or insecurities you confided in her, the keys to your soul, and uses them as ammunition during a fight. You told her about your fear of professional failure, and in the next fight, she calls you a loser. You shared painful memories from your childhood, and she throws them back at you. No wonder you're so messed up. This isn't just an argument, it's an act of emotional sadism. She is deliberately aiming for the exact spots you asked her to protect. When she uses your pain against you, she guarantees you will never be vulnerable with her or potentially anyone else ever again. You learn that trust is simply handing someone a loaded weapon. Real love protects your wounds and creates a safe space to heal. It does not turn them into targets for attack. The classic pattern. She destroys you from Monday to Friday and then puts on a grand performance over the weekend. She screams and rages, then buys you a guilt-ridden gift. She breaks you down, then builds you up just enough to keep you hoping. This cycle creates an addiction, a trauma bond. The brief periods of calm, the honeymoon phases, feel like salvation in contrast to the horror. You get hooked not on the person, but on the relief that comes after the storm. You start living in constant tension, always trying to predict which version of her you will encounter today. Healthy relationships do not require recovery periods. She is not truly sorry. She is afraid you will leave. These romantic gestures are not remorse. They are calculated moves to confuse you and keep you hooked. With every cycle, the lows become lower and the good days become shorter. This is not love. It is emotional hijacking. Why do good men tolerate this? The answer is often the sunk cost fallacy. I've invested 5 years. I can't leave now. But by staying, you don't get those 5 years back. You simply volunteer to throw away the next 10. There is also the paralyzing fear of being alone. But listen closely. Being alone is not the worst thing that can happen to you. The worst thing is being with someone who makes you feel utterly lonely, worthless, and insane every single day. Leaving is not failure. It is an act of supreme self-respect. It is the recognition that some things cannot be fixed by your love or generosity. You cannot love her into becoming a better person, and you cannot forgive her into respecting you. You only get one life. You will not get these years back. You deserve a relationship where respect is the baseline, not a reward for suffering. Stop asking, how can I fix this? Start asking, why am I tolerating this? This is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of the chapter where you finally pick up the pen and write your own future.